When the government talks about recruitment and putting in money for recruitment, it's sort of nonsensical, because if the people are there to be recruited, they will already be making decisions to become police or become students or whatever it is. The Home Office's announcement of an additional £100 million for the police is pie in the sky. It's rhetoric over reality. Doubling the initial fund commitment made in December, well, great, they've had second thoughts. This investment is aimed at increasing the numbers of police officers on the ground by 2029, with a target of recruiting 13,000 officers into neighbourhood roles. It's just a target. It's the same sort of language that was used about increasing the number of teachers. It's hope, not reality. And Yvette Cooper emphasised that restoring local policing will not happen overnight, and acknowledged the scale of the challenge. However, several police forces have raised concerns about existing funding shortfalls that have led to cuts in staffing levels, and the National Police Chiefs Council previously highlighted a £1.3 billion financial gap for forces over the next 2 years, casting doubt on whether this new funding will genuinely expand officer numbers at all or merely prevent further losses. For instance, Lincolnshire Police has already cancelled its upcoming recruitment intake because of financial difficulties. Essex Police announced plans to make all 99 of its police community support officers redundant to address a £5.3 million budget deficit. Senior police sources have expressed frustration over the lack of clarity surrounding the use of the first £100 million allocation, questioning whether the money is intended for new police constables or for police community support officers, and how associated costs such as uniforms and vehicles will actually be funded. Policing Minister Dame Diana Johnson defended the government's approach, stating that forces need to implement efficiencies, including the merger of IT systems, to reduce waste. She acknowledged the financial pressures, but argued that the overall police budget was increasing by £1.1 billion. The funding announcement coincides with the government's final police funding settlement, which provides up to £17.5 billion for local police forces, with a third of this funding contingent on police and crime commissioners opting to increase council tax. The comparison with Heathrow's third runway, therefore, is apt. Both investments promise long-term benefits, but the immediate impact is questionable. The third runway project, backed by Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, is expected to take at least a decade. That's what she said, but in fact, it's more likely to be 2 decades, with significant legal and planning obstacles delaying progress. Similarly, the additional police funding may not translate into an increased street presence for years, rendering the announcement a delayed solution to an urgent problem. Critics argue that these initiatives, while headline-grabbing for the day, fail to deliver tangible results in the near term, and in the end would just be frittered away. The pressure on the government to outline concrete plans for funding reforms extends beyond policing. Reeves has faced scrutiny over potential tax increases or spending cuts required to meet fiscal rules, particularly as borrowing costs rise. The Office for Budget Responsibility will deliver its assessment in February, determining whether Reeves needs to take corrective action, potentially including reductions to the benefits bill. The government's commitment to neighbourhood policing is therefore entangled with broader economic challenges. Without a sustainable funding model, short-term injections of cash serve only as a stopgap measure rather than a meaningful long-term solution. All they're doing is creating a headline. They're not actually getting boots on the street. As with the third runway, the promise of future improvements are not enough to satisfy public demand for immediate action. They're just words.